interviews are arranged there. No time, and to be with them, and there. Ukinifukuza kwa moja, nitatokeleza. And I am sure the irony is not lost on Kenyans that, you know, there was a time in this country when we used to have only one media house. And it was during the Kanu days, you know. So who knew that we would find refuge as people who believe in democracy in a media station owned by an actual Kanu orphan? So shout out to my chairman, Gidi. Asante sana. It's the biggest irony of today.
It's
but,
interesting how things play out.
Yes.
For sure. Karibu sana anyway.
Asante.
Thank you for coming this morning.
Asante sana. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. We're going to get into quite some things, but you know how we do it.
Yes.
Dennis is in a different country.
Where is he, by the way? Okay. I've actually missed him.
Yeah, Equatorial Guinea, I'm here.
Oh.
Yes.
Niambie.
To Equatorial Guinea. They've had a president for 47 years.
Yes.
Yeah. But let's go to the proverb. The moon does not fight the darkness. It simply shines.
Correct.
How would you interpret it?
Oh, I remember the story that Babu told. You know, they've been trying all sorts of ways to sow division and try and separate the Linda Mwananchi team. And I remember he was asked that question about me and him. You know, people don't know the backstories and the histories that we have. And I remember him saying that the sun and the moon do what the sun and the moon do. Yeah, in fact, they don't take anything from each other. Yeah. So what that proverb or the saying is, the moon just does its job. You know, it just shines.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I'm going to say about it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Makes
Staying
sense.
consistent,
Asante sana.
Asante. Let's do some housekeeping just to get some understanding. First of all, before we get into things. Are you the ODM Secretary General?
Oh, I should have started by saying that I am the Sifuna, SG of ODM, Senator Nairobi, and the Deputy Whip of the minority in the Senate.
Okay.
Just for clarity's sake.
Yeah.
But no, you understand that that matter is live under the litigation of the courts. We are expecting a judgment actually on the 5th because certain decisions were taken by the party's National Executive Committee that I thought were unprocedural. And we moved the Political Parties Disputes Tribunal. In the initial instance, they told us that there exists within the constitution of ODM mechanisms for dispute resolution, which for me, I didn't really agree with what the PPDT said because the internal dispute resolution mechanism is available not just for aggrieved individuals, but also for the party. If they had a dispute with me, they had also that responsibility to invoke that internal dispute resolution mechanism so that we could resolve it internally. They didn't do that. They took a decision that was adverse to my interest and threw me out essentially as, or purported to throw me out as Secretary General. So the PPDT in the initial instance, they told us that you guys go and try arbitration. So we write to the party and tell them we are invoking the arbitration clause. And they reject arbitration. They say that there will be no arbitration. So we went back to the PPDT to tell them, you guys told us to try arbitration. I have declared a dispute in accordance with your guidance. I proposed names of arbitrators, very seasoned professionals in the arbitration space. What the Constitution requires is you agree on who the arbitrators are going to be. So I proposed 3 names. They were supposed to propose names, and then we agree, let's have these 3 arbitrate the dispute. They rejected that. So I had no option but to go back to the PPDT. So as it stands today, Sifuna is still the SG of ODM.
Okay.
And I want to explain something, that I have said repeatedly that none of these positions are anybody's birthright.
Right.
I have said that I don't have to be SG of ODM. In fact, it has been the honor of my life that I got to be Raila's last SG. And I served him faithfully for 8 years. This is my 9th year as SG of ODM. I have been supported greatly from all across the country by members of ODM because you need their support to be able to do this job. And there's stories I have for days. I don't know if you have the time. One of the stories that I don't believe I have told is that I have said publicly, I don't have to be SG, but you have to follow the constitution of ODM to replace an SG.
Yes.
You have heard us calling for a national delegates convention where you can run whoever you want to run against Sifuna, and let the members of ODM decide that we are tired with Sifuna and we want somebody else to do the job. But they have not done that, and we continue to insist as Linda Mwananchi that what we want is a leadership that has a mandate of the membership of ODM, that has a legitimacy. So let's have an NDC where all our positions are subjected to competition. I have no problem. You can run whoever it is you want to run against me, and if they win, let them do the job of SG.
Okay.
But the reason why we are fighting, and people need to understand, the reason why we're fighting is the party has certain rules, and the constitution of a party is there. Now, when Oburu was appointed as a party leader,
yes,
I was not there. I had gone to India, Mumbai. We were on that flight that brought Baba back home. And after the burial, and there was a meeting we held at Chungwa House, which is a party headquarters, prior to the first central committee that he chaired. And I remember we sat there as two men in Raila's office, the party leader's office. And I told Oburu, you have publicly called for my removal. There was an incident after the meeting in Kakamega. There was this stormy meeting in Kakamega, which, Oburu tells a different version. Because when I went to Kakamega, I was actually the target of a heckling. They had planned that there'd be people saying certain things there, and I'd be heckled. In front of my party leader and so on and so forth. But it backfired. But to hear Oburu tell the story, he says that I arranged for those people to be there to say that they love Sifuna. Mind you, I was born in Kakamega.
Yes.
I grew up in Kakamega. I went to school in Kakamega. My wife is from Kakamega. My mother is from Kakamega. Those are my people.
Yeah.
I don't need to arrange anything in Kakamega. So after the Kakamega meeting, Oburu was speaking somewhere, I think in Siaya, in a church or something. I said, this Sifuna is such a small person. If we wanted today, we would kick him out.
Right.
So that is the context in which we are having this conversation at Chungwa House. And I tell him, Senior, I have a lot of respect for you. You have publicly expressed opinions that suggest that you're not very comfortable with me being in this position. And I told him that the relationship between the party leader and the Secretary General is so intimate that if there are any tensions between us, probably it won't work.
Right.
And I want to know from you today, do you still hold those feelings?
Yeah.
And Oburu says, no, first of all, I was upset with what happened in Kakamega. I thought that the people who spoke were a bit disrespectful to Raila. They were not my people. I'm not the one who told them to say those things, And he says, I didn't plan to be party leader. I have found myself in this situation because of circumstance. Nobody would have predicted the death of Raila. But we need each other to be able to go through this difficult period to transition the party and let bygones be bygones. And we shake hands.
You did?
Because I told him, if you still feel that way, I will give you my letter of resignation today.
Okay.
Yeah, because the bigger interest is not Sifuna being SG, is for the party to progress. Because I honestly, what I said at Raila's burial is something that I actually believe in. That I believe that ODM was is one of Raila's biggest legacies as a person who believed in multi-party democracy, as a person who actually fought for multi-party democracies. He believed that political parties need to be strengthened. They need to be perpetual. Like he said it himself, that the party needs to survive all of us.
Yeah.
You know. So I meant it, Ndu. You know. So it's not about Sifuna. It's not about Sifuna. I was prepared to give Oburu a letter and say, let me give you an opportunity to pick an SG that maybe you guys can vibe.
But after that,
yes.
I mean, if we skip forward a little bit, you still came out and said, I refuse to be an SG to mediocrity.
Because
what did you mean
because
by this?
there is things that happened subsequent to that. Because, you know, where I come from, like the community that I come from, when you sit down as two men or two women, and iron out issues and shake hands on it. And we left Chungu House and went to the first meeting of the Central Committee somewhere in Westlands that you saw us speaking the first time after Raila's death. I thought that we were on the same page.
Okay.
And every time we sit in these meetings, we agree on certain things, very basic things. We agree that the party has not made a decision to support William Ruto. All of these people agree that Raila never told us at any particular point in time that we should support William Ruto's re-election. In fact, Raila had seen 2027 as the best opportunity for ODM, because I can see the headline on the Star, on the Standard, saying numbers don't lie. It's actually true that you can do the math yourself. If William Ruto was declared president by 200,000 votes in 2022, and he has lost a big chunk of his support because Mount Kenya alone gave him almost 4 million votes out of the so-called 7 million that he got. So Baba had seen that this is a great opportunity for ODM because all we needed to do was to retain our bases. The exact same number of people who voted for us in 2022 are enough to make you president in 2027. So we sit in these meetings and we agree that nobody is going to run around shouting two-term. Immediately we leave the meeting. You see them in Homa Bay, in Migori, shouting two-term. So the rest of us who know that a decision has not been made to support William Ruto have to come out, and say, no, that is not the position of the party. Up to today, nobody in the so-called leadership of ODM currently can show you a resolution of ODM, by any organ of the party to support William Ruto. So when then you see the sort of happenings after that, they go to Mombasa, and people don't know that even the day before Mombasa, we had a meeting. We had a meeting with very senior members of the party who were trying to mediate some of these, disputes. And we reached certain agreements. I was surprised that because after they left, it is rumored that they passed through State House. And the very next day in the morning, they are reading these resolutions
because
to remove me as secretary. So I think people need to know that Sifuna is not the problem. Now, let me address the question you've asked me directly. You see, Raila Odinga was something else, you know? And we didn't expect that Oburu would be like Raila. He actually gets upset when we say, by the way, Baba would have done this. Sisi tuliaribiwa na Baba because he had a style of doing things. Baba used to consult widely. And he used to explain things. You know, that man earned our respect by respecting us and also demonstrating that he cared what we thought. I have told the story, Ndu, of the day that I went to say Pole to Baba after he lost Fidel. And in the middle of that, the guy, we were doing a by-election in Homa Bay. And I had refused that story of giving a direct ticket to Moses Kajwang. And I was a nobody. For all intents and purposes, everybody knows once Baba says left, we will go left. But because he knew that I had opposed that decision to hand the ticket to Moses, he runs after me when I leave the house and he stops me in that corridor outside his house and he says, Sifuna, we need to talk about Homa Bay. That's the day after Fidel has died. People are streaming into his compound to say Pole. And he says, Sifuna, I have been told you are sulking. I need to explain to you why we need to do this the way that I am proposing to do it. That's how people's respect is earned, You you would find him there explaining, even the person you thought is the most useless. He would take his time to talk to him and explain to him. Now, wale wanajua tunasemanga tulikuwa tumezoea kuchukua moto kutoka kwa transformer direct. Sasa hii tumewekwa kwa power bank. So lazima tuseme it's a proper step down for me, you know. So I have nothing but respect for Dr. Oburu, but he has a different style of doing things. We don't begrudge him. We were just used to something else.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to look at broad-based. And at the time when the broad-based was coming together, it was not a political agreement. It was a way of people to achieve the 10-point agenda.
Yes.
There was nowhere where there was supporting the presidency, the re-election of William Ruto in 2027.
Yes.
But here we are as well on the 10-point agenda. There was a deadline, 7th of March, right? And
Yes.
with that today, many Kenyans are asking, why stay in a union where nothing has been achieved of the 10 points that are there? And this has been point of contention between you and those who are opposing you. Why the difference? Why the fight in there? Is it because others don't want to speak the truth?
Yeah. One of the biggest frustration that I have, my brother, is that we all know the truth, because these truths were told to us when we were all there, you know? And the frustration has been with people who know the truth but have chosen to keep quiet. Sometimes somebody will come out and say, oh, by the way, Baba's position was this. It helps. But then there's those who know the truth that have decided to twist it, you know? So the history of the broad-based government, everybody knows what happens in June of 2024.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. The countries on the brink, rumors are circulating that we could actually have the army take over. You remember that situation when the young people took over the streets and came to parliament and the other places. And Baba's thinking was that you need to protect our democracy. For him, the democratic space that we enjoy it took so much for us to get to where we are. Even this conversation we were having at the beginning, when I was telling you that there was a time when there was only one radio station and it was Baba and Mama. Democracy has certain pillars. There are certain freedoms that underpin democracy. You have to have a freedom of media, freedom of the civil society, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of conscience, freedom of worship. These are the key ingredients of a democratic state. And we were not always like this. These young people, I tell them every day, we were not always like this. It was not always possible for us to sit on a show like this and speak freely, you know? And Baba's position was that this thing has to be guarded, as they say, that the price of democracy is eternal vigilance. There is every possibility that you could actually slip back to what used to happen in the 90s. And he says, we would rather have a bad president who was elected through some process than to have a dictator or a military man in State House, because immediately the military takes over, the constitutional order collapses. All of us, even including those of us who are in parliament, all institutions, including the judiciary and the others, they disappear under dictatorship. And he says, let us show up this government, you know, let us give him the support. We get him to a place where we can remove him democratically. That is the background of the broad-based government. When you hear these other characters tell it, you would think that ODM and UDA sat somewhere in a convention under very normal circumstances and agreed that we are going to form a coalition government. That's not true. By the time we are signing the 10-point agenda MOU, the people who we loaned to government were already in government. So the MOU has nothing to do with the broad-based government. And, you know, these days nobody discusses the MOU because even they themselves, they were denying that we had an expiry date for that MOU. It was the 7th of March. Now, Brian, they go to... Dennis, sorry. They go to KICC and then they purport to extend by 60 days something they claim has not expired. Why are you extending it if there is no expiry date? You know? And for me, some of my problems emanate from my assessment of the implementation of the MOU. Now, it's public knowledge because Baba told the country that it is Sifuna who wrote that document. It is true. We wrote that document ourselves. And there's a background. You know, when Raila came from the AU race, they flew him direct to Mombasa. And when he arrives at Mombasa State House, he finds that they had prepared a document. Actually, it was more or less a coalition agreement with UDA. And Baba says, there's no way I can sign this document. His style was, first speak to my people.
Right.
Yeah. And you see him embarking on these consultations across the country, talking to people. And Mzee used to know, even when people were patronizing him, he comes back from the initial consultations were in the coast. He comes back from those consultations, and in front of all of us as leaders of ODM, you know, I saw Caleb Amisi, my brother, doing a radio interview with a Bible in his hand. I think that thing should be standard now. Everybody should hold a Bible and tell the truth. You know. So Baba comes back from those consultations at the coast, and he says he can tell when people are afraid to annoy him or to disappoint him. He can tell people who are being patronizing. He can tell people who are afraid to tell him what they actually feel. So he says out of Kilifi, Mombasa, and Kwale, the only people who told him what they actually felt about that proposal to do an MOU with UDA are the people of Kwale.
Okay.
Yes. He says they are psychophans in Mombasa. He said it himself in front of people now. See, it's not the people of Mombasa. It's the leadership in Mombasa that have decided to be psychophans. Ati baba we kile ambacho utaamua sisi tutafanya tu. Kwa sababu, you know, as a leader, you also depend on people to shape you sharpen your ideas, to bounce off ideas. You cannot just have people who say, oh, Sifuna akisema left, tunaenda left. You know? So, the 10-point agenda, there is that conversation. And then we have a central committee meeting at night in Kisumu, the day before we did the Jamboree in Busia, you know? And Baba informs the team that, you know, there is a group of experts who have been given the mandate to do a proper document, you know? That the one he saw in Mombasa, that one is not who we are as ODM. And at the end of the meeting, he tells them, when you guys finish doing that document, give it to Sifuna. And the room goes quiet. And then these merchants, who are scared that things might not go their way, they're like, oh, Baba, why can't we form a small committee?
Members of
members of the central committee. They're saying, oh, perhaps we can add one more, two more people. Then Jacob asks them, how many people does it take to read that document? Sifuna is our SG and he's also a lawyer. Give the document to him when you're done. Slams the table, the meeting is over. I come back to Nairobi. 1 week goes by. 2 weeks go by. Nobody is giving me the documents. I call them. I'm like, is that agreement ready, guys? They're just dodging me. Nini. On the day when we were signing that agreement, in the morning is when these characters shuffle in with a laptop. And the entire Central Committee of ODM is sitting there on one side of KICC. The president and his team are across the hall. It's a day of signing of a document. And then there's a TV like this one in front of me. They start projecting the agreement.
Without you having looked at it?
Without me having looked at it. It's the first time all of us are seeing this document. We didn't even get to page 2. Baba is like, stop. Which document is this? This is not who we are. Then he turns to me and asks me, Sifuna, have you looked at this document? I say, Baba, this is the first time I am seeing it with you. The meeting stops. We are sent upstairs. My office is on 3rd floor of KICC. We go there with Professor Anyang Nyong'o, and he sits in my desk. Baba tells us, you guys must do a people-centric agreement. And we drafted that thing in like maybe 30 minutes. Yeah? So I know that document. I bring it downstairs. I print one copy, give it to my boss. My boss reads it and he says, this is it. You know? He tells me, Kina president are across the hall, take it to them and tell them this is our irreducible minimums. If they say yes to Nayo Harusi, if they don't, we go. I take it across, and because I had told them that, you see, UDA's interest is not to implement anything that is in writing. They just want a document from which they can run their propaganda and say, oh, tumeungana, tumefanya nini.
And you knew this then?
I knew it. I said it in Kisumu, that Baba, this is going to be a PR disaster for me. And I said it from the position of the foremost PR officer for the party.
Right.
Because I'm the spokesperson of the party. Now, I take it to the president's team. Those guys didn't read it. They didn't read it because their interest was never in the text. They say, and then the president sitting there, iko sawa? Iko sawa. So even when I go back to the room where my boss is, they are shocked that it took me less than 5 minutes. So I'm like, wamekubali kila kitu. Okay, sawa, tuende to sign.
So it was obvious that it was not read.
They didn't read it because their interest was never in the text. And true to my prediction, when we stand at the steps of the KICC, what does the president say? Wangapi wanakubali tuungane, tutembee pamoja, but look at the text. Look at the text. Now, my problems begin the day that I declare that MOU dead.
Yes.
And there's a reason. There's a reason I declared that MOU dead. We had provided in that MOU that we want to see a stop to abductions. We want to see a stop to killings. Extrajudicial killings. We want to see respect for political parties. We want to see respect for devolution. We want to see all of these things. We have listed them down. And the day that the police take Albert Ojwang from Homa Bay all the way to Nairobi and they kill him in the police cells here at Central, and Dennis, we are counting upwards of 20 people, young people, who have been killed since the day we signed the MOU. So I do a show with Yvonne, and Baba was still there. And, you know, me, I say, as far as I'm concerned, once you kill someone, they cannot enjoy any of the other things, even if you implemented it. You know, even if you added Homa Bay 2 billion shillings to build buckets, Albert Ojwang will not go to those markets. And that is essentially the beginning of my problems.
And a departure from that, I mean, of course, unfortunately, October comes and Raila Odinga unfortunately passes. And thereafter, what one would define as a rapid move or a rapid departure then from this supposed agreement took place. Coming into this year, 2026, Kitengela was the first stop. You went to Kitengela, and the reception that you received, was that an indicator to you that perhaps the country is moving in a different direction and you needed to be the one that was going to be involved in that movement? Because soon after Kitengela, you went to the next place and the next place and the next place. And every time you were told that it's going to be dead on arrival. But if anything, those numbers and that fever has risen. What informed you to now say, let's go full throttle?
First of all, you know, Raila's death was a hammer blow, you know? We know that we are all human, we are all mortal, but the way Mzee used to move, you know, nobody ever thought that you would wake up one day and Mzee was gone, you know? So, in fact, the choice of Kitengela, you know, when the day that Mzee died, we actually had a party activation in Kajiado. There was a by-election there. I was dressed in my orange T-shirt. I was going to the ground, you know? And I wake up in the morning and I'm reading my messages. I see somebody who is in Raila's office. He just sent me a message that Amolo has left us. And I had spoken to him the previous day. He had told me he's well, he has left hospital, he's in this Ayurvedic clinic or whatever. So it didn't make sense. So we divert, we go to Mama's house in Karen, meet other leaders there. We had to stay there. President comes. We had to stay there and wait for Oburu. He was in Kisumu. I thought, because, you know, he's the head of the Jaramogi family, I thought we were going to make the announcement there when Oburu arrives. Then Statecraft takes over. We are all told we have to go to State House. And I was so angry when I got to State House that we are doing this there. You know? Then they had already prepared a list of people who are going to Mumbai to fetch him. Then they look, because I think it's just because I was there. They look at the list and it's just government people, you know, and there's no one from ODM. And they're like, oh, Sifuna, bring your passport, you know, you'll go and fetch your friend. So I find myself in this flight. I'm looking around. I don't see enough of Raila's friends. I'm just wondering who are these characters. Even if Raila himself was to pick the people who are coming to,
you reckon it's not the folks who are on that plane?
It's not those characters, Bwana. I was so angry. We get to Mumbai. The indignity that I found my boss in at the airside there, it was just very difficult, you know. And I remember people just saying after, like, we go to Nyayo Stadium for this, what was it called, a state funeral.
Yeah.
And I guess I can't really begrudge the military because, you know, once they take over, they have their own traditions. But we as people of ODM, and especially because Raila Odinga was a Nairobi politician, the feeling out there is that we as the people of Nairobi, we as the people of ODM, never got a chance to mourn Raila. You know? There was not even a mention of his party at Nyayo Stadium. We used to do something with Baba when our grassroots officials or leaders in the party died. Me and him would place like the ODM flag on the casket. And even when there were state officers, like I remember when the member of parliament for Kibra died, we agreed with the state, with parliament that we can do half-half. Like the Kenyan flag would be half on the casket. We did it at Moi Girls, you know? So when we are locked out like that and we don't get a chance to mourn our boss, our father, it was very, very difficult, you know? And I see people telling me all over the place a few weeks after we've buried Mzee, saying, oh, you know, Sifuna needs to stop mourning and now just take leadership and we need to see a direction and so on and so forth, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, it was a tough period for all of us. And we know that we cannot let the people down. We go to these places. We need to speak to the people. We need to speak for our people as well. And the reception has been fantastic. You know, despite all the threats, despite all the intimidation that has been thrown our way, the people have shown up, you know. I must take this opportunity to thank the people of Kisumu. And personally as SG, you know, I've been SG for 8 years now. The support that I have gotten from Luo Nyanza, which is like a strong base for the party, has just been amazing, you know. So we go to Kisumu and the people just show up, you know. I think Kisumu was way bigger than Kitengela. The reception was amazing. The people were warm. People showed up on the streets to just wave at us, to greet us. We go to this church in Nyalenda and there's thousands of people there. We come out and the people come out with us. They walked for 4 hours just to get to the venue there, you know. So it has been amazing across the country. They said in Moto ya Gazeti, you know, walisema itazima. But the people keep showing up. And for as long as, you know, Baba used to tell us, for as long as you're on the side of the people, as a leader, you have nothing to fear. Yeah, because leadership is about the people and we must do everything for them.
Yeah, you say leadership is about the people. And in the Linda Mwananchi tours, it has not just been here because I'm SG, I wanted to maintain power. You've been speaking about issues affecting Wananchi. Talk about today, numbers don't lie. It has been subject that you've pushed for a very long time. It is the people who will tell you how their situation is. You talk about education, where we are with that, corruption in the country, debt, rule of law. You are big on respecting the rule of law. Pesa mfukoni, is it a reality today? When you go around the country and meet with Wananchi in these meetings, right? The message that is there is that the country has to change. Things can't remain as they are. In your conversation with Wananchi, what do they say? And what's your message?
You know, at the end of the day, I've seen some people saying, oh, what is the agenda for Linda Mwananchi for the people and so on and so forth. And we have maintained that the government that Kenyans wanted has already been defined in our constitution. And you know, the constitution has a history. There is a place we came from, Dennis, that people don't want to go back to, you know? And increasingly, if you speak to these young people, they will tell you, increasingly, human beings want to be free. They want government out of their business, you know? So we are the ones saying roads are good, but can we all be alive to use those roads, you know? Can we be in an environment where we are free to express ourselves, that just because you are affiliated or you own a media station, you cannot call and cancel Sifuna, you know? By and large, if you speak to these young people, they will tell you they want to be free. And if you look at the preamble of the Constitution, we defined the kind of government that we wanted. We want a government that respects the 6 essential tenets of the Constitution, the values of our Constitution. It is democracy, it is freedom, it is human rights. And it actually starts with human rights, you know, and rule of law and social justice. So when you speak to these people, they're saying, yes, development is good. It has to be put in context. I've given the example, Dennis. You give young people money, say Nyota Fund. You go and start a business, and they go and start a business of charging people to play pool.
Yes.
Then when those people are playing pool, for no reason, the police break in and beat those people up. We are building magnificent highways. So you are telling me you dualized Kenol to Marua so that the police Land Cruisers and Subarus can quickly reach villages in central Kenya, pick young people there and, you know, abduct them and disappear them. That is not why we do development. So the argument that we have been trying to sell is that everything that the government does has to be done in the context of those 6 essential values. If it is building a stadium, we want that stadium to be built, but in a transparent manner. You know, there's these characters who argue, when Mzee was still around, they used to say Sifuna can never disagree with his boss. And we used to disagree. Do you remember the entire story of Adani?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Mzee was very clear in his mind that the PPP way is the best way to achieve development, especially when you have budgetary constraints in a country such as ours, right? And so when we were making all this noise about Adani, he was a bit upset. And he called us to a meeting and we told him, Jacom, first of all, you are the one who taught us that you have to do everything transparently. You know, that if in fact the PPP law itself requires, Dennis, that if there has to be a public place where you list all the national priority projects that you are seeking partnership with. Yeah, they don't do that. Now the whole world must know that Kenya is looking for a partner to dualize Mombasa to Nairobi or to Malaba. We want an SGR extension to Kisumu or to Malaba. We want a new airport. Nobody disputes that, but it has to be done in a transparent manner. So we fought with Mzee, and I remember he was very upset. He's saying, oh, Sifuna, you guys are discouraging investments. We said, Jacob, we are not discouraging investment. We are saying, can it be done in accordance with the law, in accordance with the transparency tenets, because Article 10 of the Constitution requires it. Yeah. So those of us who are saying, you just keep quiet, let Ruto build the stadium. Yes, we are the ones who are going to pay for that Raila Odinga Stadium, the Talanta Stadium. We have to see it done in a transparent manner. Let there be open tendering. Let there be value for money. Because if you look at the costs, and the Auditor General has already flagged it, that there has been cost escalation of over 10 billion shillings. We want healthcare to work. We want healthcare to work, but the procurement of that healthcare system has to be done in a transparent manner. There has to be value for money for Kenyans, you know? And these are the conversations we're having with the people. They need to understand that dictators build roads. Yes, yes, they do. We have visited their countries. We have seen magnificent highways, like three-tire roads, you know? Democrats also build roads, but it is only one of those two people who will also not kill you and your children, who will respect the value of human life. who will respect your human rights, who will respect your freedom to come to a radio station and speak freely, to respect your freedom to post something on social media and just go home, you know?
Now, taking all of those things into consideration and looking at the wave that obviously is being ridden at this moment, and where you're still saying that we will go to other parts of the country to hear what people have to say, to understand what people actually want, to explain to them what the rule of law is. You know how people are, Edwin? They're looking for the next thing. What does this mean? And very clearly, you're already being called the next presidential candidate. Are you going to run for president?
You know, Ndu, what we want to do is to build this movement to a level where it can be consequential. It is not about Sifuna, you know? I just found myself thrust there and people are singing Sisi Ndio Sifuna across the country. It's not my doing, you know? But we want to build a movement. It should not be about me. We want to build a movement that is consequential, that if we decided that tomorrow we are running Ndu, you would win that election without question. You know, I am one of the people who also believe that we need critical mass in leadership. If it is just you at the patch there running around the country singing Zizi Ndio Sifuna, it's very easy to be knocked off the patch. You know, what I want us to do is to build this movement to be consequential. We want to be consequential in elections of MCAs, in elections of members of parliament, because part of the problem is not just with Kasongo, it is also with our parliament, the people who end up there. Sometimes you sit in that Senate and you look across the people who are sitting there with you, and you wonder, I mean, these counties, don't they have any better people to put forward?
So if the patch was built,
that's what I'm saying.
Was built, and it turned out that the movement says that
this is what we're saying.
Would you accept
we
it?
will cross that bridge when we get there. But I want people to understand that it cannot be about Sifuna.
Okay.
It is about our country, you know? And this is why we feel very, very honored, we feel very humbled when we go to these spaces and these places and people show up. Mombasa was major. We went to Nakuru and it was massive. We went to Kitengela. We went to Busia. We went to Kakamega. Despite of all the intimidation and the threats, our people broke through cordons of goons and the police, and we still had meetings. You know, it tells you that there is a certain yearning in the country for a different narrative, a different face, you know. So we, the only assurance we can give people is that we will not disappoint them. We know the task that is ahead of us. We know the sort of expectation that we've built. I have said previously that those of us who have been thinking Ruto must go must be available to go him. You know? So we are not going to run away from responsibility. I have also said publicly that in 2027, the overriding national emergency is not to make Sifuna a senator. Always movements. I remember there was one called, what was it called? ODM Fresh. There were others running around calling themselves to do what. We have always had these movements within ODM. There is no requirement in the constitution of ODM that we must all do things together. In fact, what Mzee used to do, you would find that the young people are doing something in the coast, the women are doing something in Western, there is another team running around doing registration of voters. I mean, that is what gives vibrancy to the party, you know? So when I hear people saying, oh, we can only move together, I'm just shocked because I don't understand their motivation in saying, and by the way, when they were planning their rallies of this Linda Ground or these other activities that they do, they are the ones who started by excluding us. They never used to involve us. And number two, we had a way of doing things in ODM where the activities would be funded by the party itself, centrally. You know, even Raila, when we were low on resources, he would take his own money and put it in the ODM account. He would not give you directly at Sifuna, this is for the by-election in Bonjari. No, he would put it in the institution because Baba believed in the institution of ODM. You know, and then we would sit there as a leadership and say, we are going to run this activity together, we are going to do this together. And that's how we used to work. Now, this new format where they just decide they're going to do their own things, we also have the capacity because we're also political leaders. We also have support. So we decided, okay, let us go and make our case to the people. And the case that we are making is that, by the way, it's never too late to do the right thing.
True.
It's never too late to do the right thing. They know, all of us know what the right thing is. All of us know that the ODM base, the ODM supporters do not support William Ruto's re-election. He is bad for the country. Everybody agrees. So why are you forcing this decision on the membership of ODM? You know, all we are saying is this, that we you know, I made a commitment. I made a commitment to my boss at his own funeral that it would not be Sifuna to wreck his party. They are the ones pushing us to the periphery. There is nothing. If you sit down and look at the raft of accusations, at least the ones that they have filed at the PPDT, there is nothing there. There is nothing there that I have done differently from when Baba was there. And Mzee had explained to them that we are a democratic party. You must have room for divergent views. And I have a responsibility as SG to read resolutions of the organs of the party.
Yes.
Now, if I am the one, in fact, I was the one I used to write those resolutions and read them myself. I know there is no resolution of ODM to support William Ruto.
Okay.
So if I go out there and I repeat that position, there is nothing wrong I've done. You know? So these guys, what they do is they know what they get from William Ruto. Some of us, Dennis, we feel that we've been blessed enough. The people of Nairobi honored me and elected me as a senator of their county. There are certain perks that come with that. I didn't have anything that had my name on it in this city. But because they elected me as senator of Nairobi, I was given a mortgage by parliament. I have a house. I came to this city with nothing, you know. You get there and they give you a car grant, 8 million shillings to buy a car. I have a comfortable vehicle. I don't want anything else. Like there is a level of greed that I see in people. Then I wonder, like, how much is enough?
But they've equally been said that your Linda Mwananchi is being bankrolled by Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yeah, they have been saying that all this time, but they have never demonstrated. They have never shown you the evidence, you know? You heard Murkomen saying that we as political leaders are under 24-hour surveillance. That Murkomen knows who I sleep with and when I sleep with them. Okay. You know? So he surely must see me receiving money from Uhuru. Why can't he show the country, Sifuna and Uhuru, exchanging money? Yeah, because, and me, I will show you how people have funded our movement. We have a pay bill number on our website. They are called Linda Mwananchi. And I can show you the phone that has the M-Pesa messages. We pay our DJ from those 10 bob shillings that people send to us. You know, we have a gentleman called D.S. Njoroge. D.S. Njoroge is a person who used to supply or provide the dais and sound for Raila. He decided that he's going to work with us. We agreed on a flat rate for him, and he goes everywhere. He was the one who did Vihiga in the rain, in the darkness. He was able to assemble that thing, disassemble it, and assemble it again in Kisumu. It's what wamejitolea ndu, you know? I can show you how members of parliament in the Linda Mwananchi group contribute money. Our M-Pesa statements, these people have access to all these things. Our treasurer is Osotsi. We all send him money. You can see Sifuna is sending 200,000 to Osotsi for the rally in Kisumu. Bro, and what we spend money on, what do we spend money on? We spend money on the stage, the sound, and maybe security. That's it. on average, if you ask me, our budget for Kisumu was 3 million shillings. Do I need Uhuru to give me 3 million shillings? We have friends, my brother. We are members of parliament. The entire complement of the, what is it called? Linda Mwananchi, we have over 15 members of parliament. Each of them giving you 100,000 shillings is 1.5 million shillings. And there are people who give us money who, if I said they give us money,
you'll be surprised.
There'll be problems. It's not, they will be shocked. It's not Uhuru.
It's not. So you talk about, obvious, there's a comport now of support.
Yeah.
And there's this power that is around all of this. It's interesting that we use the word power. But then how do you take that? Because the things that you speak about today, that people should live within a country whereby they have the right to not be disappeared.
Absolutely.
Whereby their children can go to school. That you can walk into a medical facility promised by government.
Correct.
That you can actually get the healthcare that you require.
Yeah.
That you don't have to go to your senator and say, please help me with 15,000 shillings because I can't do 1, 2, 3. How do you take that need, combine it with this inertia that is clearly taking the country, and turn it into a decision? Because the word that you mentioned, which I've written down, is that you must be consequential. And in order to move anything politically, we know in this country, you must be consequential with the numbers. How are you going to take this beyond just a spirit of fever and turn it into something that will be consequential? If that's what Kenyans are saying they want.
Now, you see, we were taught by Raila that politics is persuasion. We believe in our ability to persuade. And we hope that the arguments that we are selling will make sense to the people of Kenya. There is no way of knowing, until the ballots are counted, whether it is your message has resonated with the people. But we can feel, because we also are recipients of information. We also consume information. We can hear the people saying that they are suffering. We can hear the teachers, for instance, saying they would rather go back to Minet. They don't want this sharp nini business. I speak to police officers. Police officers, they don't shout, but they whisper, sisi ndio Sifuna. Then they are like, hey, bana sasa hii sijui ati hii shaa vile wametusukuma huku, we can see vitu tulikuwa tunapata under NHIF, wanaanza kutuambia tulipe, sijui kuna limit za wiki, daily limit, sijui monthly limit. Yani, they are also suffering. We are saying, when you promise, you must deliver. Because the promise was for universal health coverage, that people would get free health care. That was the promise. We never thought that there would be limits or be told. And you remember the argument that William Ruto sold us. Because we used to pay less than 1,000 shillings as NHIF. And he said, it is not fair for a person like me, who's Sifuna, who earns 1 million shillings of taxpayers' money, to pay 1,000 shillings for medical cover. Can we squeeze you more so that those people who don't have anything can also get? So, okay, I pay upwards of 30,000 now for healthcare. And the promise was, mambo ya harambe ya kuchangisha pesa itaisha. And who are the guests of honor in those harambes? It is Sifuna. So me, I sat down and said, okay, it makes sense. If you are going to remove from me that burden of attending harambes, then it makes sense for you to take 30K from me. Now, what is the actual situation on the ground? Totally different. You listen to the teachers, they are complaining. You listen to the police officers, everybody who's been onboarded. The facilities are complaining. They are not, the SHA reimbursements are not coming on time. You remember the case of the hospital in Mumias, where I was born. You know, a hospital shutting down under heavy debt because SHA is not remitting monies to them. So we believe that, and by the way, even this recent fiasco with fuel, I personally believe that you can tell the people the truth and they can still love you and they can still vote for you. Like if for instance,
no matter how bad
this roof is about to collapse, why am I lying to you that we are all safe? Why can't I just tell you the truth that, by the way, do we need to evacuate?
Let's move.
Hey, we need to move because this thing is going to collapse. So we have a leadership that lies about our true situation. our true situation. We had countries taking precautions, saying, "Oh, we are going to work from home." Prime ministers dropping some of their entourage. You saw people at least taking steps to tell the country that because of the war that is happening in the Middle East, we are going to be strained when it comes to oil supply. But you have somebody with 2 weeks before he slaps you with a 40 shilling increase in diesel, he's telling you everything is fine, just chill. I have taken measures to make sure that you guys are okay. 2 weeks later, he's slapping with 40 bob. So personally, where I come from, and the school of politics that we have gone through, is that you can be honest with people. You don't have to mislead the public for you to earn their support. So we have told the people that it is not going to be easy. Nobody is under any illusions. You know, personally, I am under no illusion that kicking out an incumbent is going to be an easy job. But it is the call of our generation. We have to do this at whatever cost, you know.
Also, the parts of the country where you will go are just as important.
Yes.
There are two parts where folks are asking, will you come and hear the views of people? One of those is central Kenya.
Yes.
The other is Rift Valley. Beyond Nakuru.
Yes.
Now, will you go, and what are you expecting?
Now, this is what I want to assure people, that we are not running around to be leaders of a section of Kenya. No. All of Kenya must be open to all of us, to all of the ideas that they have. And I give the assurance that we will go everywhere. In fact, the reason why you see us, we started in the traditional basis of ODM is because there is a fight to be settled in ODM. We need, first of all, for everyone to understand, or for us as leadership to understand where the core support of ODM is. Are they one term or two term? And the verdict from the coast to Mahaland to Nakuru to Kisumu is that there is no support for William Ruto in those places. And I go and I ask them, hapa Kondele, kuna kura ya Ruto? Wanasema hakuna kura ya Kasongo hapa. So, we will go everywhere. And the only thing that we ask is that we should be allowed, you know, like these threats and intimidation, they are all unnecessary. Even if Sifuna one day ends up as a leader who has a so-called stronghold, wherever that stronghold will be, I should not be the one standing up and saying, oh, Ndu cannot come there, Dennis cannot come there, so-and-so cannot come there to say their piece. Let us go to Eldoret. We will go to Eldoret, I can assure you. We will go to Turkana. We will go to Mandera. We will go to Wajir. We will go to Marsabit. We will go to Garissa, because we appreciate that Kenya is not just one corner. And whatever those people do, you know, there is a way you can speak to political leaders. If, for instance, you don't agree with Sifuna, wewe ni mtu wa two-term na unaishi Eldoret. When Sifuna comes, just stay at home. In fact, my biggest fear, and the biggest fear of every political leader, is to go and arrange a rally, weke stage pale, alafu mujikute ninyi peke yenu na security yenu. That is the biggest political statement. It is not being beaten. No, there is no place for violence.
Somebody has said something. Okay, you've been with us for some time, and I'll definitely say we're grateful that you've done that. Our last question at this point.
Yes.
The words that you speak are very people-centric, people of Kenya. And one of the things that you've also mentioned, time without number, is that you cannot make promises to people that you will not keep.
Correct.
You will not say that you'll be president today. You will not say that you want to run for president tomorrow. But one of the things that you have said is that the people of Kenya and what they need and want must be established.
Correct.
Is that something that folks will be able to hold you to, come rain, come sunshine?
Come rain, come sunshine. That one I can tell you for free, because we have a responsibility to do. I mean, none of us planned to be in this situation that we are in right now. But we find ourselves here, and we can hear what the country is saying. We can hear the call. We can hear the yearning. I mean, at the very minimum, you have a responsibility to answer to the call that we can hear out there. We will not make promises that we cannot keep. We will accept that things will be tough, things will be difficult. In fact, I feel bad for the next administration, because if you see the sort of things that these guys are doing right now, they have securitized everything. They have taken debts on everything for like the next 15 years. You know, so it will be very tough, but we will be true. I mean, we will just tell you, hii kitu haiwezekani. and you will be with us there when we are trying to solve some of those problems. Na tuwaambie hii kitu imetushinda. Unaona? There is no reason to not be open with the people. As I've given you the example, if this roof is collapsing and I know it's collapsing, why would I just sit here and allow you to die? Yeah, I can tell you this thing is going. Watch it tutoroke. But we want to thank the country. We want to thank everybody who has been showing up. We want to assure you that we come in peace. We want to be able to sell our agenda, our proposals for the country. And I've said the country does not have a hardware problem. The country has a software problem. If we can persuade you guys that it is the software, it is the values in the Constitution, it is about your freedom, it's about democracy, it's about social justice, it's about rule of law. Can I just demonstrate that rule of law point and then we close? You know, we have been asked, for instance, how do you know how jobs are created, Ndu? The government by itself cannot employ all of us.
No.
You need the private sector to have confidence in your country, to be able to put money here. Now, the rule of law is such that it's so important and critical, Dennis. If the story has been told of people, Airtel, I think, looking for a headquarters for Africa. Then they propose Kenya. They propose Nairobi. You come here, you look at a piece of land in Upper Hill. Immediately, first of all, there's all those people who just hold land for speculation. Immediately, they hear that a big company such as that is looking for land. They triple the prices. Then you go and conduct a search at the lands. You find that the title is written Sifuna. The next day, you hear, by the time you're putting up your investment, you hear, oh, by the way, hiyo shamba inakuanga ya Deno. Kuna title tatu. Unaona? Aya, you don't have confidence that if you take that dispute to the courts, do you know why these big companies, when they do up contracts, they say arbitration will be held in London? Because you don't have faith that the judge hata kuwa ameonekana hapa kando. Rule of law is such that, and even if the judge is not bribed, and they give an order saying this shamba belongs to Ndu. But now, the senator of Nairobi also has
a stake here.
Not a stake, a title. Now, koti imesema shamba ni yako. Mimi nakwambia wewe, hiyo koti, hiyo ni karatasi. You know this system of mambo ni matatu. Mimi si ni senator. Naweka guns kwa hiyo shamba. Wewe na title yako na judge wako, shauri yenu. So all these values that we speak about, they influence decisions. Why would somebody put money in an economy where the president of the republic can demand a share? And if you don't give them, they shut you down. We have many, many stories of enterprises that have been built here. We need people to have confidence in the country that you can put an investment here and nobody will hassle you. And if we don't repair that, we are not going to solve the jobs problem for our young people. I was lucky that we finished school when we had a proper administration with Kina Baba and the coalition government. When I tell young people that I meet that we used to be employed when we were in the classroom in fourth year. Yeah. I remember even law firms in Nairobi. You know, when we were in law school in Nairobi University, for as long as you made it to the top 20, they used to call it the dean's list. There would be 3 or 4 law firms saying, give me the number 1 person, give me up to 20. We used to be employed in the classrooms. And right now, you have people graduating 8 years. Graduates of education, they never get an opportunity to be employed. And then, because we have destroyed the system of meritocracy, the president takes the TSC letters and distributes them amongst members of parliament. And they say, ni MPs were broad-based pekee ndio watapata barua. So Sifuna never gets those letters. And I have cousins, I have relatives who are graduates 8 years, 10 years, who also need those TSC letters. So when I go home for Christmas, my mother looks at me and says, wewe kijana, si unyamaze wenzako waandikwe kazi. So the country we want to build is to restore meritocracy, that for as long as you are qualified, you don't need to know a member of parliament ati barua inaletwa kwa kijiji Christmas. No. We want to destroy that entire ecosystem.
And to get a departure from that. Senator Edwin Sifuna and ODM Secretary General, thank you for being here with us this morning, definitely to get some insights into some of these things. People are going to hold you accountable to the words that you speak.
Asante sana. I am ready, and I want to thank you for providing a refuge for these conversations when others are shutting us down. And I'm happy, and I'm hoping and praying that you will continue to be an independent media house that allows all voices to come and sit on this seat and express themselves.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
We'll finish the way we started. Welcome home.
Asante sana. Sasa ile chai yangu tu ndio mmenikosea.
Mrekirisi litembelia Crisco Yan Christ Co-workers Fellowship Elgon Presbytery Wanabalanga Basangi Bozi ministers, prayer leaders and the professional symbol who have been in the prayer summit ya 2026 ehabeo kwa military 20 kwa tarehe 5 Crisco Church Kimilili kwa milabise bya saa 2 mwabwibwi kwa labise bya saa 11 chekoloba yolikane kubenende kamekesio kama saba in the session and the strategic spiritual warfare and the fellowship yolikane kubenende sessions cha training and intensive prayers kubandu chinjibulala nende chikanisa nde institutions ala nende sibala siosi Loli Bishop Bakabeo, Bishop Francis Ademba, Missionary Andrew Nganga, Reverend Bernardine Ngosi, Apostle Charles Bagan, Pastor Violet Mugwanja, Pastor Iano Kwado Akarikari Weba Bandi. Kwingiramo so yunga hosi still so free. Mitemberidia Crisco Kimilino ulile bola the prayer summit kwa military 25, kwa military 20, kwa tarehe 25. Mitemberia Crisco Kimilili kwa milabisa bya saa 2 mwabwibwi kucha paka saa 11 chekoloba.